Welcome back to day 5 of the 2017 Australian Championships live from the Gold Coast. I'm Michael Hutchinson. With me is Lachlan Rogers for the 23 and under division. Queensland up against South Australia. It's both teams' last match before the finals tomorrow. And Lachlan, what will we be looking forward to in this one?
I'm really looking forward to seeing the athleticism of these young blokes going hard at it. Queensland and South Australia haven't had a real rivalry over the past couple of years in that South Australia hasn't been all that strong. But again, tonight will be a test for them, I think.
Last time these two teams played, Queensland were victorious 48-29. Can't wait to see how this one pans out. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this. We're back about 2 minutes from the start of this game. Players just finishing up their warm-up. Don't forget tonight, after this one, on Court 1, Victoria and New South Wales in the Open Men's Division. That will determine placings in that division.
It'll be a big game. That game is going to decide where Queensland sits in the final series. And there is a big difference between second and third, and that could well be a real deciding factor.
Queensland will be stinging from their 2 losses yesterday. Consecutive losses, probably something that hasn't happened for them in a number of years.
No, and talking to Mick Kiker, their coach, earlier this evening, he is working very hard trying to cover gaps left behind by injury. Cole Gray, one of their significant defenders, has gone out with appendicitis, had his appendix out last night, which in all my years of netball, I've never heard.
An injury you haven't come across?
Well, an injury like I've got to get my appendix out.
So he's ruled out for tomorrow, which is massive for Queensland and the final series. And then on Court 3 at the same time at 8 o'clock, South Australia against WA. WA will be in the finals, but they'll be certainly looking for some consistency heading into it. Lachlan will be alongside Dave Mills for that one. Sue Gordian and Junior Levi for the New South Wales Victoria match.
Just on that South Australian Western Australian game, South's going to have to use that game as a way to really prep themselves going forward. Western Australia, again, if they're not going to be able to keep up with the pace of the open divisions, they've got to have a bit of a soul search, have a look at what they can do next year to be more competitive.
Absolutely. So we'll look through the lineups for both sides. Queensland starting with Melsheim and Rui in the goal circle. Mayer, Spinks and Newman, the mid-court. Harden and Wood, the defensive circle. And for South Australia, Wells, Cross, Ben Bolt, Smedley at centre, Williams, Wood and Foster at goalkeeper. Teams in their final huddles, getting some last-minute words from the coaches.
And Dave Smith of Queensland will be having a quiet word with his players to make sure they don't get too overawed with this game. They've got to take this and make sure that they have got their skills, their corridors, their positional play, everything they need to make sure that this works for them.
Queensland sitting second on the ladder at the minute, just on percentage behind Victoria. South Australia sitting 4th. They will make the finals, and that could also come down to percentage dependent on the outcome of this match. Queensland are keen. They're out on court.
Ready to go.
South Australia will start with the first centre pass. 23 and under division.
Smedley with the ball. Quick turnover straight away. Queensland with the ball. A break.
Rui. Spinks struggled to get free initially. Has the ball now. Wood out of play, leaves a 2-on-1 to Queensland.
Distance issues early on for the defenders from South Australia. I've always been a bit against the jumping up and smacking the ball of the shooter before they've let the ball go. Bit cynical in my opinion.
Queensland with the first break of play through Melsheim. Rui. Back to the transverse line. Finds Spinks onto Mayer.
Mayer holding really strong on the edge of the circle there. Good body position. And an offload. Should finish this one easily. And does.
Queensland up 2-0. Early stages of this last match for these two sides before finals tomorrow. South Australia a little bit hesitant in their transition down court.
Good work from Wood there. Quite agile for a larger bloke. He can get up there.
Certainly has an intimidating presence.
And they've given that turnover away. The defenders are not going to be very happy with that.
Harden.
Got to treasure that ball coming down court.
Obstruction call on Mayer. South Australia will look to penetrate into the attacking third. But
well read.
Picked off by Spinks. Rui working all the way up to the transverse line defensively for Queensland. Now making his way back down. Has the ball. Spinks. Back played. Ball out of court though.
Some very tight marking from the South Australian centre, Smedley, who worked very hard to make sure that he did not get that ball. Good hands by Queensland coming down court. And South Australia really have to make sure that those turnover shots go in. It's going to be a significant problem if they can't finish off a turnover.
Rui had an acre of space on the base there. Foster, out of play. Nothing but net.
I do like Rui's style too. Although he plays quite high through the centre, he does drive that baseline very well. And unlike a lot of the men shooting at goal attack, looks straight to the post, turns, and delivers.
Melsheim with a big split under the ring. Queensland out 4-0. 3.5 gone in the first quarter. Pressure from Queensland immense so far. Ben Bolt, Wells.
And finally a good finish. It's sloppy coming down court from defence into attack for South Australia.
Mayer with the throw in, the captain of the Queensland 23s. Spinks onto Rui. Looked to Melsheim, but played it to himself. Good jump there from Foster. Harden with the contact, a long way from home.
I think there's a bit of a commentator's curse right there. I've just given him a rap about how he turns to the post and slots them, and he offloaded there where I honestly think he could quite easily have put that straight in the bucket.
Wells can't convert down the
And
other end.
here's where they need to make sure that they get that ball down the court.
Williams onto Spinks.
And again, these mistakes are coach killers. I can't see Dave Smith being very happy at quarter time with those sorts of passes.
So some early nerves for both teams.
As we can hear Dave Smith on his bench giving it to his players for their sloppiness. But again, they're working really hard.
Great pressure from Mayer
Oh,
there.
there's a step, wasn't called. And the pressure has paid off for Queensland.
Yeah,
Ball's out of court.
Too high and wide there from Williams, South Australian wing defence. Queensland with a throw-in through Wood. Spinks directing traffic through court. Newman back to Spinks
Good delivery.
by the floorboards.
I'm still not happy with the delivery from Spinks coming into the circle. He's pulling up his drive probably close to a metre off the circle, which allows the opposition centre, Smedley, to get in between him and his pass, making it more difficult than it probably should be. Still, he's working very hard. Oh, well read.
Picked off by Newman. Harden will take the penalty after contact from Cross. Spinks looks for Mayer, delivers. Smedley out of play.
Get on the circle.
Umpire
There we go.
resets the penalty, and good split there. Rui drawing the defender in Foster. I'm good with the second attempt. 6-1.
Looking a little bit tentative there in that second attempt. Young fella's got to back himself.
Mayer. Harden. Onto Newman. Rui leaping across the front of the circle. Mayer regathers.
Good hold, good body position.
Good delivery from Mayer into the space. Foster unable to contest.
And the finish.
And Melsham, that's his 6th. Queensland 7-1, nearly halfway through this first quarter.
Oh,
Bit much on it there from Ben Bolt. Nice idea.
overcooked, but I think the body position, the front position by the defenders there really made that second attempt.
Smedley, no
And
one
again-
there to back him up.
Again, these passes, these turnovers really need to be valued. You get a rush of blood, it's really great that you've got a turnover, but you've got to really make sure you
Convert.
convert that pass.
Oh, Mayer just wrong-sided there. Wells spinning back into the circle. 1-2 with Ben Bolt. And that one's
Finish.
a good finish. Queensland centre pass. Mayer holding off on first phase. Rui finds Mayer at circle edge.
Oh,
Got a hand to it, Melshine, but
Very-
Foster picks up.
they've got to take a little bit more time, Perhaps, nice work.
Spinks.
That pressure through the centre court's really paying dividends for Queensland.
Smedley was caught behind there on that drive and should have committed a bit harder to it. Good look there by Wood.
And a
Melshine.
lovely delivery into the circle. Cynical, again, leave the ball alone, it's not your shot. And a finish.
South Australia through Smedley and Cross. That's quick transition. It was their best 3 passes of the game. Smedley wrestled that from Mayer.
So I don't know that South Australia, score notwithstanding, are that far off the pace. I think if they were to take their chances with their turnovers, the score would be a lot closer than what it is at the moment. And again, it's only the first quarter. 6 points ahead. 8-2 to Queensland.
Yeah, that 6-goal margin, indicative of the amount of times Queensland have actually been able to get the ball into the circle. South Australia really struggling on that last entry. But that is a great leap from Foster against Melsheim. Harden, Foster, Williams. Oh, through the middle, Queensland packed the middle, and the offensive contact from Benbolt was probably a poor choice of pass. Harden finds Spinks, Rui.
Again, receiving those passes off the circle, allowing space.
There's
Lovely.
a great feed from Mayer in good position for Melsheim.
And Melsheim's holding good space. There is a loose pass from Smedley. This is what we're talking about, the whole idea that if they'd have made these passes count, the score would not be as, oh dear. Hail Mary.
On both occasions there. And
Queensland pick up the the crumbs of that somewhat messy, I don't even know what you'd call that.
It wasn't even lacrosse, it was
loose.
It was a brand new sport no one's come up with yet. Spinks. Foster, oh, slips. Spinks, Rui, quick 1-2.
That feed, refeed, and a dish, and a finish. It's not pretty, but it seems to be working at the moment.
It is effective so far. I think they're just more complete in finishing even their drives. I think South Australia are stopping as soon as they know the ball's coming to them. Queensland are happy to come through and continue to contest. But that is a beautiful move off the body from Melsheim.
Rui with the delivery, though. The work was done off the ball there. Allowed for him to get a pass in there nice and early.
Cross to Wells, Benbolt, almost offside. Loose hands from Wells and gets the penalty with Wood out of play. Cross for his first shot of the game, misses, but up for the rebound.
Good rebounds from the goal attack. Nice work, good finish.
Looks like he's the shortest player in the circle too. Off balance, but Rui manages to get the ball away. Unlucky there from Smedley. Contested that one well. Spinks, Mayer, Rui gliding to the base. Foster really likes to contest the shot.
He really does.
If only his distance was a little bit more appropriate.
I guess I come from the old school era where you're allowed to goaltend, and
so this is a new experience for you.
I'm really surprised that that sort of behaviour on the ball when you clearly are not allowed to do that. I don't know whether he's trying to just unsettle the shooter. It doesn't really, not that I was ever a shooter. It's, again, a mess in the circle. But as I was never a shooter, I don't see the value in doing that. I don't imagine any shooter worth his salt would really be upset by that. Other than, stand behind me, sir, you've just made
an error.
A wasted gesture.
Spinks, Queensland up 12, 11-5.
I think Wood's got to make more of an effort to get
Cross unlucky.
Get front on his player there. He's letting that ball come straight into the circle, not even contesting.
South Australia not really putting much of a press on, all man, sort of just hanging back on the Queensland throw-in. Easy access through court. Rui and up, Melsheim up early.
Strong hands, strong work, bringing the ball down and finishing off.
Into the last minute of the first quarter in the 23 and under category.
13-5 again. It's probably not indicative of the pace and effort involved in this game. A lot of turnovers. I imagine there'll be some comments by coaches.
Quiet words at quarter time.
Yes. at quarter time said about the value of this ball. And another turnover to Queensland. Got to finish those.
Mayer onto Rui. Queensland looking for one last goal. Offside from Ben Bolt there, but missed. Cross.
Standing, looking.
Wells, cross.
Finish.
Oh, just
Unlucky.
short.
Got to push those up.
Mayer, Rui.
And beaten by the buzzer.
And that is quarter time. Queensland 13-5 against South Australia at quarter time in the last match for these two sides in the round robin, day 5 of the 2017 Australian Championships. Seeing it first, yeah, absolutely. So we're back here for the second quarter for Queensland against South Australia. 13-5 at quarter time. If you're on Twitter, tweet us at AMNA Men's Mixed. And if you're on Instagram, look up Australian Men's Netball. Some great photos from Power Shots Photography. We've taken photos all week long. And massive thanks to our broadcast sponsor, In-Game Clothing.
So we're looking for a big quarter here. South Australia really have to pull their socks up with regard to their turnovers, because I would be interested to see the statistics for the turnovers that the managers are compiling, just to see what's going on.
So
how many should they have had?
Get us underway for the second quarter. Newman feeds direct into Melsheim.
And a good finish. I think it was a very simple pass in there. The goalkeeper for South Australia, Foster, just giving him too much space and letting him have that front position. And that pass came in from the centre third.
Good hands from Newman there onto Spinks. Harden. I wonder if Foster might be better off being moved out to goal defence so we can have a better crack at the ball. He's sort of in two minds against Melsheim at the minute. And thought it was good distance there, but the umpire's a lot closer than we are. Not that I would ever question the umpires.
No, exactly right. They do an amazing job. Here particularly, the speed of the game, and I've seen a lot of games, both men's netball and women's netball, to make a comparison, and it is relentless, the speed here. Oh, Good attempt there.
Take from Williams.
Oh, wing attacks. Got to keep your eyes up. Got to keep your eyes up.
But much like the players and the teams that are competing here, the umpires are from right around Australia. Van Holt just, I think, waiting for the call there. Didn't seem to follow through after the collision. Wells held it up.
I'm really not sure if
out of it there.
The ball is slippery or not. I don't know what's going on here. The boys just aren't pulling the ball in. They seem to want to go at 1,000,000 miles an hour. You got to slow your drives down, time your runs.
So no changes to
either
team heading into the second quarter. So South Australia must know that they're in it. They're just not converting. Whereas Queensland through Melsheim certainly having better success with that. That's a 3-0 start to the second quarter.
Giving his knee a bit of a twitch at the end there. I wonder if he gave it a bit of a twinge as he went down and twisted for that ball.
Wells coming out, trying to create some space in the goal circle. Cross. Oh, good hands, good reaction there from Wood.
Sure, rebounds, boys, rebounds.
Cross.
Still making the shooters work for every shot up the Queensland defence end. Probably a number of opportunities there to take the ball themselves.
Mayer onto Rui. Looks to Spinks and throws it behind him to Mayer. Good jump from Foster. Got to be a Queensland throw in. Mayer to Rui. Good hand there from Williams.
Fantastic balance from the South Australian wing defence, Williams.
Foster backs up to Wood. Back to Williams. Foster. Wood. Queensland running a press on either side that South Australia are coming down the court, but a bit of miscommunication there. I don't know whether that was intended for Wells or Cross.
Flooding the centre court with players, making the South Australians. All you need to do to break a press is have one good solid drive right down the guts. It'll open everything up.
Absolutely.
But they don't seem to be...
bit too much on it from Harden.
Coach Smith is going to be dirty if those passes continue.
Had too much Red Bull before the game.
Oh.
Williams. Smedley driving, ignored. Wood.
Stepping in on his player.
Cross outside the circle. Wells. Oh, good reaction there from Wood.
Fantastic hands.
Quick hands. And Queensland into attack.
Again, delivering off the edge of the circle. I'm not a big fan. Gets cluttered.
Melsheim just got the yips at the minute, but he's strong enough and tall enough to go up for the rebound.
Oh, wing defence got to keep his eyes up from Queensland. Ball went right over his head there, Newman. If he'd have had his eyes up, he could have just stuck his hand in the air and picked that one straight out.
Offside
man on man
call.
defence.
So it's a free pass to South Australia in the goal third. Ben Bolt to take it. Who's going to drive through for South Australia? Spinks with the contact.
Now some of them's going to have to roll.
So Wells was holding good position there, and Harden was occupied but ignored. Must be a bit frustrating in the South Australian attack, but makes good with that shot. Queensland sent a pass and they lead 17-7. 5 and a bit minutes gone in the second quarter.
Rui with a fake pass there. Gets the defenders out of position. Allows him to feed his shooter very successfully.
Open transition there from South Australia. That was a strong drive by Cross.
Oh, Wood can't let those shooters push you out of position there. Can't get his hand over a ball if there's a shooter in front of you.
He's a little slow to react on that occasion. Spinks to Mayer, Rui. Spinks hits that circle edge hard that time. Nice touch there from Foster. I think he got the hand of Melsham as well, so that's why he looked back. Ben Bolt, Wells, Smedley. Wells then props and a move from Cross, but he can't. Another strong rebound from Cross.
That transition looked really good from South Australia. They brought the ball down the court really well.
Probably their best of the game. Wells that time allows the ball to bounce to him.
Moving his body into better position as the ball rolled across the court.
Little hot shoe shuffle there. Dave Smith, Queensland coach. Fancy footwork's what we like to see. Dave Smith, Queensland 23's coach, out of his seat there, imploring his defenders to have a better look at where the ball's coming in. Foster there causing on Melsham, who completes 19-10. 6-5 the quarter break. So South Australia keeping pace in this quarter. They'll be happy with that. Haven't made inroads on the scoreboard, but they're actually converting the ball they have a lot better than what they did in the first quarter. Ben Bolt waited for the right move from Cross and short, but he's tremendously up.
I think they don't seem to be, their in-circle rotation is working quite well, South Australia, but just got to back themselves with these shots. Push it up.
Yep.
There it is. Push it up. Have confidence in yourself.
So the quarter break even now. Queensland looking to break that and extend their lead. Harden onto Mayer and Rui. He's not afraid to shoot, and that's why.
A good finish too. Perhaps he should be looking at more of that. He does a lot of offloads. He plays goal attack like a wing attack.
The very steady shot. You do wonder what the game plan is too from Queensland, whether he is at goal attack to be that third feeder, but with shooting like that.
That's off.
Good rebound from Harden then.
Again, just not taking those chances. Giving the ball back to South Australia with the feed. Oh, loose arm. Oh, very close to a replay, I would have thought, but got away with it.
You're allowed to bounce it once to gain control, but I think it was delicate in his hands beforehand.
Exactly. I think he had plenty of control before he bounced that ball.
Oh, Rui did not want to take the shot at all and then drove back into the backspace from the Melsham screen.
They're contesting strongly on that circle edge, which I think makes it difficult for the Queensland shooters. Again, a lovely shot. Knees bent, nice tall stance.
Queensland 21-12, and the tip on the South Australia centre pass. Newman, Mayer, Rui. Quick ball to either Melsham or Spinks. Oh.
And a lovely finish. It was a beautiful roll around the circle edge by Rui.
2 seconds in, I thought he was going to pass it off. Backed himself.
And he backs right off his drive too. He drops right back into the corner there. Still looking.
They're half double teaming Melsham, but not really committed to it. And Rui's allowed to roam in the goal third quite freely. Smedley offside there. So free pass inside the circle.
And will he back himself this time? I think he is.
He did, but
left it short that time.
Left it short off South Australian hands. Gets the throw in. Quick ball from Mayer. Quick taking of the penalty. Melsham goals again. 23-12. Just over 4 minutes remaining in the second quarter. 23 and under division. Queensland against South Australia. The last round match for these two sides before finals tomorrow. Both teams will make finals. Currently second and fourth on the ladder.
Again, letting them have that front position. Rebound by Wood, bringing it out of defence again.
Nice drive by Wood.
Good, sensible, take a breather, have a look.
Assess the options, and now Mayer.
Rui spare in the corner again.
Spinks, good
Contact by
take.
Smedley.
Quickly taken. Foster's eyes were down momentarily.
Queensland coach will be happy with that transition. They've actually looked after the ball. Very clear driving, using their corridors well. And another finish. South Australia can't afford to let this get away from them. They really need to keep their head in the game here. Oh, chase that, Wood. Chase that.
No call from the umpire there. And again, I think that's about the third shot in a row Wells has missed. Just great anticipation there from Cross. Committed to it and came up with it. And a great jump from Mayer. The backup from Melsheim high in the goal third. Rui down to assist. And a great ball from Mayer.
Williams really has to stop stepping in there. He's done that 3 times already, I think, coming into the attacking half. He steps in on his opposing wing attack and just begs him to knock that ball out of the air. Bit close there.
The
Bringing it
penalty back to Queensland through Spinks. Williams out of play. Melsheim trying to set a screen for Rui. Rui taking the penalty outside of the circle, strangely enough, but that quick 1-2 is the reason why. And finished.
Good finish too, but maybe that was some sort of set-up play that they've used before. It's not often you see a goal attack roll out of the circle.
Whatever it was, it looked pretty.
Quick
Cross
1-2.
out of his hands, but regathers. Wells looking to create something. Cross with the 1-2 with Smedley. Harden out of play, short on the shot. Don't think even hit the rim. And I don't think that ball was ever in Wells' hands, but a replay called. Now Wood, Harden. Back to Wood, Spinks, Harden. Where's that drive going to come from? Newman.
Spink looking for an early ball. Starting to get a little bit frustrated through the middle.
Yeah, he was up high. Eventually gathered by Harden. Newman, Rui, under a minute remaining.
Takes a settler, and that's what needs to happen here. They're running a million miles an hour.
Good read of that from Wood to deflect it out. Queensland centre pass. Sorry, throw in.
Last minute for the Queenslanders. Can they finish this off? Rui pushes it up.
Well done from Wood for blocking out Melsheim from the rebound. But
that'll be over a third to finish off the quarter, I think. Coming in, Queensland to take the pass. Got to get in the circle if they want to finish with a goal here.
So started strongly the second quarter, South Australia, but
good pick up inside out and the finish. I think
we've got time for
time
another
on
goal.
That, or have we just...
Oh, quick ball into Melsheim, and that's another.
Very strong hands, very strong hands.
Heads down from South Australia in that last 40 seconds or so. 2 quick goals, and at half-time, Queensland 29 lead South Australia 12.
They've really pulled away there towards the end. I think
it was about 5-all at the start of that quarter, and an 11-2 run to close out the quarter will probably please Coach Dave Smith.
Dave talking very closely to his players, I'm sure doesn't have a lot of negatives to talk about at the moment, but that will be one of them. I think
certainly more direct in that second quarter.
The second half of that quarter, I think, worked very well for Queensland. They did tend to take a few settling passes.
Yep.
Rui controlled the attack in a lot better than he did in the first half. He tended to be Bit of a loose cannon that first half, working the edge of the circle. Thank you very much. Working the edge of the circle, not in the circle. And again, playing more of a wing attack role rather than a goal attack role, leaving a double team on his shooter, but not enabling feeders to feed.
Yeah, but in that second half, when Queensland were able to break away again, he was taking more shots. Exactly. He was able to post up. So maybe that's something they're going to look at heading into the second half. Queensland 29-12 over South Australia in the 23 and under division here at the 2017 Australian Championships. We'll be back for the second half after this. And we're back for the second half, 23 and under division. Queensland up against South Australia. Queensland with a handsome lead at half time. 29-12, 16-7 that second quarter after it was 5-all early. A couple of changes for both sides. Melsham to the bench and Adams on at goal shooter. Newman and Spinks have switched positions for Queensland. For South Australia, Ben Ryan comes on at goal shooter, ball in hand at the moment, and successful with the first attempt. And Tom crosses off with Clayton Wells moving from goal shooter to goal attack. Newman, circle edge. Rui with the drive. Good pick up from Smedley. Ben Bolt.
Williams doing well coming out of defence. A good turnover there and a controlled pass out of defence into attack. There's one back for South Australia, not a bad start.
Many success for those changes they've made. converting on a Queensland centre pass. So now it's their turn to consolidate. Ben Bolt, Wells, outside to Smedley.
A good defence there from Queensland. A good effort there from the Queensland centre.
Spinks to Mayer.
Newman running the centre now. Opted for a bit more height.
With speed, finds Rui baseline.
Again, I don't wish to say anything, but that was an awfully short 3 feet.
No, that's something I'm going to agree with. I wonder if that was the pace of that play that caught the umpire unawares, but that was a very good transition through the Queensland zone. Ryan, fresh air
that
on
was
that shot.
A rare full miss of everything.
Almost landed in the car park. Newman to Harden. Back to Spinks and Harden again. Mayer.
Changing corridors, bringing it right down the right-hand side of the Queensland attack.
Rui. Gets to Adams for his first shot of the game.
Looked a bit tentative off the hand, but finished nicely.
Ben Bolt looks long. Finds Ryan unguarded. Good finish from South Australia.
Frustration there from Queensland. The goal defence knows he's made a bit of an error there.
Good to see that South Australia haven't dropped their heads. Still got pride to play for. They'll make the finals. They'll probably tackle New South Wales tomorrow morning. Don't forget, game next, Court 1, New South Wales and Victoria in the top 2 in the Open Division, which will determine placings heading into the finals tomorrow.
Will be an absolute cracker of a match. So if you can tune in, the commentary will be Sue Grosjean and Junior Levi, who is the current Sonics captain, wearing a size 4 XL media shirt. He is a massive man mountain. Having played against him earlier in my, or at the end of my career, early in his career, I did end up on my backside a few times.
One of the toughest players to play against in men's netball. And Sue Gordian is bringing her A game to that one, that'll be for sure. Smedley.
Oh, just missed there.
Just missed it.
I must have missed a memo as well, where you're allowed to actually put your hand on the ball now, apparently. I'm a bit cynical in my old age, but pretty sure that's contact on the ball when I used to play. Happening at both ends, I might add, but
umpires trying to allow as much contesting as possible there, but that was far too clear of a passage for South Australia. Queensland not happy with the way that they were unable to close that space. Harden looking for a driver. Mayer out wide, but goes to Rui through the middle. Mayer again, circle edge, just misreads Adams' move, a bit too much on it.
I don't know, perhaps Adams showing a bit of inexperience there. Eyes down, waiting for somebody else to get that pass. Went over his head, and he looks to be a fit and healthy young fella. Probably able to get up there. Needs to keep his eyes up, watching where that ball is going to be.
Well, it's just too much on that into Ryan and Wood. Harden looking for someone through the middle corridor, and there's no one there, and that's a good contest from Smedley. Taps it out, takes signage and about 400 patrons.
They got their money's worth then. Face full of sweat, foul language.
Don't forget to come down if you're in the area, even if you're in Brisbane, drive down for the finals. It's going to be some of the best netball you'll see all year. Tickets available at the door. Rui was not going to shoot that until their last millisecond.
He was waiting for the umpire's call there, which didn't eventuate.
And he should have backed himself right from the start. He's good enough. Wells, but Harden.
Oh, if you can get that much hand on it, the Queensland goal defence coming through there, if you can get that much hand on it, you can catch it. Admittedly, he was going out of court, but
Tap it back in.
you could throw a blanket over the South Australian attack end at the moment. There's no distance there at all.
They're all exchanging addresses for Christmas cards.
And again,
another missed shot from Wells.
Left it short.
He's doing a lot of work outside, and just being able to
very easy transition there.
Reward his teammates for the work that they're doing. Wide ball to Mayer right across the court, and Foster. Adams not getting too close to the ball. Good pickup from Wood.
Oh, Wood got a hand on that ball too.
Ryan finishes that play down court for South Australia.
I think if Coach Smith for Queensland is going to have a word to his young goal shooter, he is posting.
Good read from Wood. Unlucky on that occasion. Had
Very
front space
unlucky.
first hands.
Front position, ball in both hands.
But again, Adams a bit slow to react to that. I don't think he expected the pass, but makes good with the ball.
Second shot finally through the hoop.
South Australia lead this quarter 8-4. Nearly halfway through it. So averaging a goal a minute, that's a better outcome. Oh, scared out of it was Wells. Picked up by Harden. Adams.
Rui on the edge of the circle. Out again, working like a wing attack.
He's there, he's looking for an option. Woods and Foster have got a good switch happening on Adams.
See again, Rui finishing, but still waiting for that umpire's call. I don't know that it's going to come, so he's going to have to just take those shots. And a change of ball here.
Just wiping the old one.
Wiping the old one.
Apparently players sweat these days, so it's important.
Never used to happen in my day. Air-conditioned venues. Paid professionals we were.
Kids should be thankful they got sprung floorboards. Back in my day, we played on concrete.
Oh, exactly. And bitumen. Let's not forget bitumen.
And we didn't have a net.
We had those metal rings. I don't know if any of the listeners remember those things.
Chains.
The metal chains. Turnover, giving it away.
Wells looked early. Ryan was out, but Harden, I don't think he was the last to touch that, but the umpire was a bit unsighted, I feel. Just saw the ball come off hands. And Wells missed again. Probably should have played that out. Ryan's been accurate under the post. Wells looks a little frustrated.
I think the Queensland Centre Court need to do a lot of work, a lot more work off the ball. Good centre drive there.
Queensland attack end really holding back on that play down court, allowing a lot of space for the defenders to bring that ball through. Mayo with the penalty pass from Wood over the top of Foster to Rui. That's what we like to see.
With a sweet shot like that, he probably needs to back himself a bit more. Adams, for my mind, is posting up far too close to the top of the circle. He needs to get back under the post, give Rui that room that he's been using around the edge.
Yeah, he's not being an effective target, so draw Foster back and let Rui have that front space. He's certainly speedy enough to take it and not afraid to take the long shot. Wells, can he make this one count? He does.
Lovely finish.
Still have 5 minutes to go in the third term. 35-21 to Queensland in the 23 and under division. Mayer to Rui. Back again, circle edge, Rui, good fake.
Good body control there by Adams.
Foster late and
trying
close.
to upset the young one with whatever that was, and not fazed by it at all, funnily enough.
Smedley looking for an option down court. Ben Bolt. Ryan. Wells.
Oh, good hands there by Wood.
Had a good look. Mayer. Good drive from Rui. Looks to the circle as he should. Tapped out by Smedley. Queensland with the throw in. Inside the circle, Rui will take it. Newman holding on the other side of the circle. Rui comes in to cut Adams. Probably not that much closer than Rui, but nice split. He got down.
I remember being as flexible as that. Again, that was a while ago.
I don't remember ever being that flexible.
Adams, good position there. I think he's finally starting to get his head a bit closer to the game. Again, he's still holding too far out. If he's going to hold a screen, he's got to either hold a lot stronger or move closer to the ring. Confident shot, though.
So the quarter break level now 9-all. Last couple in a row to Queensland after a good start. So they're starting the quarters quite well, South Australia, but they seem to be tapering off in their, not their intensity, but certainly in their finishing off towards the end of the quarter. Let's see how they finish off this one. Ryan, pretty much as close as you can get to the post.
Almost had to bend backwards to shoot that one in. I think the Queenslanders getting into a bit of a rhythm here.
Rui with a lot of uncontested ball outside the circle. Foster and Wood happy to...
There's a better hold from Adams.
Back
and
in the
up
circle.
and in. Obviously some basketball heritage there. The South Australian goalkeeper would do well to remember that a quick spin on that will get him front position again.
Queensland coach Dave Smith, former NBL player. So that's maybe where he scouted Adams from, the basketball court. Must note that there are a lot of young players in the South Australian side, and by young I mean 17 and 15 years of age. So if they can keep the core of this team together, in a couple of years' time, they will be serious contenders, not just to make finals, but to make a championship. Good couple of years under their belt with the 15-year-olds, they could win a title even at 15, at 20, 21 years old.
And the key at this stage here is getting the combinations going. And South Australia, although they've dropped off in the second half of each of these last two quarters, they're by no means being outplayed. There are a few basic errors, but again, if they can maintain this team, keep them together, there's a definite positive future. Positive future there.
With the back corridor for Queensland, Rui, Mayer on the drive, circle edge. Adams needs to probably reposition a little bit quicker. It could have been an option there. Good contest on the edge of the circle. Williams and Mayer, body angles on body angles, cross between karate and judo.
Throwing out legs and elbows.
Neither a black belt. Oh, and who knows who that was intended for.
Wow, no call on that.
No
That's
call.
interesting.
Then Bolt contested in the air from Spinks, who's probably been a little bit quiet this quarter, Spinks, now that he's shifted back to wing defence.
Oh, good hands there by Wood. Denied.
Unlucky.
Looked clean.
Wells chooses to offload to Ryan. Probably a good choice given his lack of accuracy this quarter. And as I say that, Ryan misses. He's caught the yips. Newman, Harden,
Now's
Newman again.
Perfect time for a settler. Oh, good position there by Adams.
A good decision. Early ball.
Something they haven't used a lot. And I think caught the South Australians napping a little bit there.
Into the final seconds of this third quarter. It's flown by.
Lovely feed into the circle there.
Ryan
and a good
finishes.
finish.
So a far better quarter from South Australia scoring-wise. Consistency-wise, again, good opening 8 or so minutes as the siren goes for three-quarter time. But Queensland handsomely 41-23 at three-quarter time in the 23 and under division. Day 5 of the 2017 Australian Championships.
Make them dance just like you, 'cause you make me move. Yeah, you always make me go. Run away with your footsteps. I'm in the city that drinks for two. And if you lose yourself, I will find you.
And back, ready for the last quarter. This last game of the last of the round robin matches for both sides. Up next on court 1, New South Wales and Victoria in the Open Men's Division. Sue Gordon and Junior Levi with you for that one. And on court 3, South Australia and Western Australia with Dave Mills and Lachlan Rogers again, back to back.
Doing 2 in a row. I love what I do.
Getting paid the big bucks.
That's exactly right.
Couple of changes for both sides. Smedley coming off for South Australia and Arthur coming on at centre. Melshine back on the court at goalkeeper. Woods goes to the bench, and a reshuffle of the mid-court. Spinks to wing attack, Newman to wing defence, and Billy Mayer into centre for Queensland. South Australia with the first centre pass. Perhaps the change of Melshine into nice
That was a delightful shot from long range.
Nice one from Wells. I'm wondering if the move of Melshine to goalkeeper is to sort of quell the influence that Ryan had in that third quarter. 12-11 the quarter break. So South Australia sticking with Queensland for the most part of that quarter. In fact, led early, 8-4 the quarter break. So Queensland definitely came home stronger.
I think South Australia, their second halves of their quarters have let them down a little bit.
Yeah, a bit of a fade out.
And it's little niggly things like that that I find annoying. There's no need for it. It doesn't slow anything down. Just stands you out of play. Stops you from being a participating member of the defence. And what Queensland are doing really well at the moment is defending. So good position by Adams. Got to be strong on that ball. Good
finish.
finish.
On that take. And against the centre pass of South Australia, so Queensland have a chance to take the lead to 20 through Rui. Rims out on that occasion, but off Foster. Should have taken that with 2 hands.
The South Australian centre giving the Queensland wing attack a good hugging there. And gets called for the contact.
Margin at 20, 44-24, early stage of the last quarter. 2 versus 4 on the ladder. Queensland picked that up. Mayer, Newman looks to Spinks, not on. Eventually finds a space. Rui works the play back into himself and gets the throw in.
I still do think the goal defence, Travis Wood's doing a good job on Rui. I still think that he could play front a bit more, but again, Rui is a very mobile. Oh, got to have strong hands on that.
Yeah. Ben Bold a bit messy in the middle. Dave Smith's very passionate on the sidelines for Queensland. It's nice to see the coach who wears his heart on his sleeve. Wells. Good take from Ryan.
Strong rebound, strong on those short balls there.
Particularly when Wells thought it was going in. Queensland through
It's
the
a lovely
back
drive. Goal defence again, South Australia. Wood, Travis Wood there, working very hard.
Certainly had a better second half than he did first half in terms of getting hand to ball. Sort of looked to be floating a bit in the first half. Certainly been more effective in the second, but Rui still allowed a lot of space. Good touch there from Foster in the goal third. And he'll take the throw in. Certainly a great decoy.
Oh
That
dear,
goal attack.
yeah, it's a good rebound on a short pass there. He's
It's got all the spin, but just not enough oomph.
the layup. If you're going to be laying them up, you've got to make sure of them. Good work by Spink there to get a hand to that ball. Making the South Australians work for it now. The press has started.
A little surprised that Foster and Wood haven't switched positions during the game. Would have been nice to see Wood try and come out and hunt out earlier. Probably try and keep the ball out of the circle rather than sticking one-on-one in the circle. I think it was a bit of a soft penalty there on Harden, and Wells opted to pass off to Ryan, who wasn't paying attention. But Harden moved from the out of play position. Wells short on that too, not happy. Harden, Newman, Spinks, back to Newman. And Mayer, the
I
captain.
think Newman's playing a lot more, with a lot more confidence in this quarter than he has previously. Maybe the stint at centre last quarter gave him a little bit of freedom to move and realises he can get around his opponents. Now is not the time for South Australia to drop their heads.
Particularly when they've started the first 3 quarters so well. That goal will not count. With Mayer going offside. Cross.
Oh,
Arthur.
tough call there. Tough call there.
Lost the handle before the contact,
Oh.
but it was a good reflex to tap that out. Ben Bolt with the throw-in again through the hands of Arthur. Maybe the ball is slippery. Maybe he needs to adjust the ways he's going to attack the ball, but tried to be clever, did Wood, because Wells was fearful of the replay call, and Melshine will take the throw-in.
Trying to defend the ball without anyone holding on to the ball.
That
And a
is
great drive from Rui there.
Strong drive from Rui, and finished.
Time called by South Australia. South Australian goalkeeper limping a little bit.
Looks
No,
like his
is it
hand.
a hand or is it a leg?
Could be an eyelash. Who knows these days?
Foster, he's had a really good game.
Yeah, he's been incredibly strong. It's unfortunate
Sad
he
to see
hasn't
him off court.
picked up a bit more ball. You never know these days with these timeouts. That one looked pretty genuine though.
Great work, great work. Queensland read that, made the feeder think twice about what he was going to do. And that rethink caused a turnover.
That was a good
Adams at
switch
the edge of the
in
circle.
direction from Adams. So cross on for Foster.
Strong on the boards. Good hands.
Played goal attack in the first half. Sat out the third quarter. And Frost
Lovely
also,
pass there, Rui.
Frost also on at wing defence for South Australia. So a reshuffle in the defensive end. South Australia sent a pass. Great intercept
That was
from
well read. That was well read by the
Melsheim.
Queenslanders.
He hasn't had much ball in this last quarter, but in the last couple of plays, he's been able to pick it off. Cross that time, returns a favour. Wells,
Oh.
Ben Bolt, contact on the way past there.
Again, Dave Smith, coach, not very happy with that pass to nowhere.
Did lack a bit of direction. Melsheim a little slow to gather. Smart option, but great hands from Harden. Flicked it back in. Great backup from the Queensland 23s.
Again, they've thrown it away. Boys just need to settle down, take a breather. Beal and Endall, they've got the lead. They don't need to rush. They don't need to hurry these things. The press comes from Queensland again. South Australians are working.
And that was a
Oh.
great touch from Harden and correct call from the umpire off
Very-
Ryan's hands last.
Very well done.
Melsheim with the throw in. But he'll get the obstruction call on Ryan. Would have probably have liked to have seen advantage play there. Queensland already on the attack. Melsheim looking for an option. Drive comes from Newnham.
Wood again, much like his counterpart Foster before he went off, working very hard.
Mayer
Adams strong in the air, strong in the air.
fakes to Rui.
Throwing the double pump up and finishes. Showing his basketball heritage there, the young fella. Rui still, if you see him, still standing out there by himself.
He's got an
Double
acre of
teaming,
space, just needs an option to do a quick one too. Spinks finally provides that. Was able to get free from Frost.
Short ball there by Rui. Oh, that's a Queensland ball, touched by South Australia as they came through. Oh no.
Umpire
All right, Queensland will have time now to drop back into their press anyway. Ball should have been Queensland's.
a call there. Across to Wood, across the court to Frost. Arthur. Ryan out of the circle. Probably wants to get back in pretty quickly, but Melsheim called for the obstruction there.
But again, that press really easily broken by a short pass, long pass combination. Thought he was going to have the shot then. Would have been fantastic if he'd have dropped that.
Ryan
Air
just
ball,
scared
air
out
ball.
of that shot from Melsheim. Hesitated from the very first look at the post.
Corridors seem to be opening up a little bit now for Queensland. I'm not sure whether the South Australians are tired.
It was a good drive from Rui, but cross-read it, knew the ball was going to go to Adams, tipped it out. Rui offering front space. Wood tried to contest either side. Nice finish from Rui.
He looks really good, Rui, when he's got some patience in and around that shot. Rushing never seems to work.
Well, it's just collected by Harden there. Just wrong line to the body. Quick take of the penalty.
Oh, well done.
Seemed to fend it off Melsheim on that rebound. That was
Yeah.
out of court, hadn't landed. His feet. And now the umpire calls not set. Melsheim didn't hear. Free pass to Wells. Bit of confusion there. Ryan just happy to go to the post to get the ball out of the goal circle, really. 51 to 26, 3.5 to go in the match. Mishandled by Newman and Wood there.
Two players there with soft hands on the ball.
Adams just tosses it in the air, and Rui says, I'll take it, and then drives across the circle. South Australia contesting really well to try to block out that access to Adams, and Rui didn't drive out hard enough to draw a defender.
I think Adams' role there was to post up, and he found himself caught at the edge of the circle at the risk of
Frost has come on pretty well. That is a great look in by Wells. That is how you clear the mess. And finished by
again,
Ryan.
hopefully the South Australians have learned from this very effective press that the Queenslanders have been putting on them, that a short pass, long pass combination is what will break this every time.
It was only their 4th goal for the quarter, but it was a good one. I think that came off Ryan then.
Queensland ball should have been.
Umpire just probably not on the baseline quick
Maybe a bit
enough.
of a get square there.
Contact from Arthur outside the circle. Melsheim to take it. Newman, Harden. Newman again.
Now's the time for patience. There's a turnover.
Quick 1-2, and it was probably on to Adams, but Rui's just trying to set the pace. The obstruction on both defenders.
Spink's still driving hard at the circle. I love to see that in the 4th quarter. Still working really hard.
Especially when there's only just over a minute to go.
Adams' dainty feet there to get him back underneath the post. A good knee lift and a good twist.
Margin day 5 is 25 in favour of Queensland. Only won on day 2 by 19, so definite improvement from Queensland, and more prolific as well. Good read from Wood. South Australia not giving up in this final minute. Still want to finish on a good note. Ben Bolt, Frost, looks long again. Great take from Ryan. Can he finish it?
Sights the post, puts it in. Again, short pass, long pass.
So they equal the total they scored day 2, South Australia. But Queensland still going to run out.
Convincing winners.
Convincing. And last roll of the dice for Queensland. Bit sloppy, but good backup from Rui. He's player of the match for mine. Really controlled the attack end, that the way that ball went into Melsheim in that first half, and Adams in the second, brought him into the game, chose times when to
Good
dominate.
hands there from Adams for the turnover.
And when to not. It was left to his own devices. Can Rui finish it?
Wow. I don't even know what to say about that shot.
I'm wondering, should I take back that player of the match
Commentator's
award that I just talked him up. Replay from Ben Bolt. Final moments of this last game. South Australia still contesting.
You really got to go up with 2 hands on that ball.
Final shot from Adams, and it
Finishes.
counts. So 54 to 29. A 13 goal to 6 final term from Queensland. Didn't look all that convincing, but they will finish 25 goal victors. It'll come down to Victoria's match as to whether they finish 1st or 2nd. It will come down to percentage. South Australia will finish in 4th spot and will still make the finals, which begin tomorrow.
It'll be very interesting, I think, what both of these coaches will say to their teams. Certainly elements of the game were fantastic, but I would suggest a good percentage of that game was also errors. Not thinking about where the passes are going, throwing passes after a rush of blood, turnovers. So valuable, yet throwing them away. I know both coaches will have a word about that.
Sure did. Queensland happy to rotate a few players through. South Australia too for different reasons, trying to look for a bit more consistency. Started quarters quite well, except probably the last, but then sort of ran out of legs towards the end of the quarters. But as we mentioned, a couple of youngsters, 15 and 17 in the team.
It really is good for South Australia too, demonstrating the depth that they have, even though they've only recently come back into the competition. To have the young blokes playing up like that, they're going to come away with some really valuable experience. Yeah, I think South Australia, some positives there, but some work to do.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. Tristan Rui, player of the match for mine, so we'll interview him after this. And we're with player of the match, Tristan Rui from Queensland.
Absolutely, they came strong. We knew we were coming in physical, so we wouldn't want to match that, so we played with our smarts and hopefully it worked off. Which ended up working off, but they played really well. Credits to them.
Definite improvement from the first time you played them. You'll either finish 1 or 2, so between now and your game.
I think good recovery. Preparation's key. So we're coming into finals. Nothing silly. Stick to our routine. We do.
Fantastic. Congratulations on. And Dave Smith coming in next on the win. Given improvement scoreline wise from the first time we played in South Australia, much more out of that game.
That was one of those interesting games. You know, the boys will find that balance between tapering for the fight starting tomorrow, getting the bodies rested, but just the boys were
said it as a game, but what pleased you most about that performance?
Probably over the course of the journey, we've been known once we start dropping, we might drop 3 or 4 in a row. Today we might have dropped 2, but we sort of got back into the grind really quickly, and that'll obviously be important come finals.
Sure will be. Finals start tomorrow, bright and early. All the best.
Thanks, Paul. Cheers, mate.
Cheers. At 8 o'clock is the Open Men's New South Wales up against Victoria. That will determine placings in the Open Men's division. Stay with us.